You are now listening to 1 Timothy 4:13 Project with the undershepherds of the Cathedral of Praise, Philippines, Pastor David E. Sumrall and Sister Beverley Sumrall with Pastora Alisha Sumrall-Lozano.
Good evening. Welcome again to Project 1 Timothy chapter 4. Every night we just pay attention to the public reading of Scripture. We're not trying to do exposition. We're following the pattern of Ezra in the book of Nehemiah, where he just read the Scriptures and gave the meaning. So that's all we're doing, and enjoying ourselves as we do it. Within 2 years, we will have read through the entire Bible together on the air and really spent a lot of time in Psalms and Proverbs also. So let's go to Pastora A tonight and get started with some wisdom in Proverbs.
Welcome everyone, I'm Pastora A, and today we're stepping into the Book of Proverbs where God's wisdom meets daily life. Let's get started. Today we're looking at verses 30 and 31 of Proverbs 6. Excuses might be found for a thief who steals because he is starving, but if he is caught, he must pay back 7 times what he stole, even if he has to sell everything in his house. Now, we see a few important principles here that the world doesn't always like or understand. In verse 30, we see that attitudes sometimes are mitigated by need, and in verse 31, we see that retribution or recompense is required as a consequence. So let's break this down. Poverty does not change right and wrong. Now, that statement alone is going to offend somebody. Poverty does not change right and wrong. Now, verse 30 and 31, excuse might be found for a thief. But then it starts verse 31, but if he is caught, he must pay back. We must recognize that we need to have more understanding and the understanding heart for a person who steals. That yes, okay, we understand that they are starving. Any person with softness in their heart would feel this. But God still says it is wrong. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes people try and get away with things because, yes, there is a need. They are starving. But God says they must pay back 7 times what he stole. It even impoverishes them worse. It would have been better for him to ask than to take. We live in a world where too often the rich are not expected to live by the law and the poor are not expected to live by the law, that they are both exempt, that only the working class is required to obey the law. That is not the rule of the law. That is then a great suggestion, not the law. The rule of the law is the same for everybody. Now, when young people, or maybe young at heart, are starting to feel that their circumstances change the rules of life, the rules of law, then society is ruled by the tyranny of the poor and the tyranny of the perceived need, the tyranny of desire, that it's okay to steal because, you know what, they have a lot and I have a little, the Robin Hood mentality. We must also understand a few things. We need to understand that personal attitudes and pity does not change right or wrong in life. And we need to also understand that personal attitudes and pity does not take away the need for retribution or to make things right. People need to make things right no matter what the circumstance or whatever is the attitude of our heart. So let's not allow what the world says or the world dictates to be right or wrong in our life, but always to follow the word of the Lord. Amen. Now let's head over to Pastor Sumrall.
Our Old Testament passage tonight picks up in a very difficult passage that we'll have to go a little slowly through tonight. Numbers chapter 16, verse 1, the rebellion of Korah. One day, Korah, son of Izhar, a descendant of Kohath, son of Levi, conspired with Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, son of Pelath, of the tribe of Reuben. They incited a rebellion against Moses. Now notice, they have the tribe of Reuben involved, and they have the tribe of Levi involved. They have 2 tribes. They incited a rebellion against Moses along with 250 other leaders of the community, all prominent members of the assembly. Now, one of the things you have to understand about rebellion is it never begins among the people. It begins among leaders. These leaders, united against Moses and Aaron. Rebellion is always, at least it presents the image of being united, Okay, that unity breaks down pretty quick, as we'll see later in our studies, but rebellion always starts with the leaders, and it looks very united. Now listen to the words of their rebellion. You have gone too far. The whole community of Israel has been set apart by the Lord, and He is with all of us. Okay, that's true. What right do you have to act as though you are greater than the rest of the Lord's people? Now, who gave you this right to be the leader, Moses? Well, that was God. When Moses heard what they were saying, he fell down, face down to the ground. He began to pray. He knew what consequences of this would be. Now, Moses didn't fight back. Well, say what you want to say. Moses said, I'm going to pray. Then, after he prayed, then he said to Korah and his followers. So Korah is the leader, and he has followers. Tomorrow morning the Lord will show us who belongs to Him and who is holy. The Lord will allow only those whom He selects to enter His own presence. Korah, you and all your followers must prepare your incense burners. Light fires in them tomorrow and burn incense before the Lord. Then we will see whom the Lord chooses as His Holy One. You Levites are the one who have gone too far. So again, notice the rebellion began with the religious leaders. Then Moses spoke again to Korah. Now listen, you Levites. Does it seem insignificant to you that the God of Israel has chosen you from among all the community of Israel to be near Him so that you can serve in the Lord's tabernacle and stand before the people to minister to them? Korah, He's already given you this special ministry to you and your fellow Levites. Are you now demanding the priesthood as well? All right, now here's the motivation behind the rebellion. Power. They didn't like their position, and they wanted more power. They didn't want to just be a Levite. They wanted the priesthood. They wanted to be in charge. He said, the Lord is the one you and your followers are really revolting against. For who is Aaron that you are complaining about him? He said, you're trying to usurp authority here. He said, you're fighting God. Then Moses summoned Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and they replied, we refuse to come to you. That's the attitude of a rebel. Moses said, come, let's talk. Nope, we're not going to talk to you. And then listen to their words. Now again, these are the words of rebellion. Isn't it enough that you brought us up out of Egypt, a land flowing with milk and honey, to kill us here in this wilderness, and that you now treat us like we're your subjects? There's the word of rebellion. What's more, you haven't brought us into another land flowing with milk and honey. You haven't given us a new homeland with fields and vineyards. Are you trying to fool these men? We will not come. Now, why are they blaming Moses? They knew why they were not in the promised land. They knew that they were the ones that had not walked in faith. They knew why they weren't in that promised land. Then Moses became very angry. Okay, leaders do get angry. And he said to the Lord, don't accept their grain offerings. I have not so much as taken a donkey from them, and I have never hurt a single one of them. And Moses said to Korah, you and all your followers must come here tomorrow and present yourself before the Lord. Aaron will also be here. You and each of your 250 followers must prepare an incense burner and put incense in it, so you can all present them before the Lord, and Aaron will also bring his incense burner. So each of these men prepared an incense burner, lit the fire, and placed incense on it. Then they all stood at the entrance of the tabernacle with Moses and Aaron. Meanwhile, Korah had stirred up the entire community against Moses and Aaron, and they all gathered at the tabernacle entrance. Now, I want you to notice, rebels stir the pot, and rebels love an audience. They had everybody there. Moses would have done this privately. Then the glorious presence of the Lord appeared to the whole community. All right, everybody's here. So God says, all right, I'll show up. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, get away from all these people so that I may instantly destroy them. Wow. But Moses and Aaron fell down on the ground. "O Lord," they pleaded, "you are the God who gives breath to all creatures. Must you be angry with all the people when only one man sins?" And the Lord said to Moses, "Then tell the people to get away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram." All right, separation. He said they're going to have to make a choice. Are they going to continue to be loyal to the rebels? Make a choice. So Moses got up and rushed over to the tents of Dathan and Abiram, followed by the elders of Israel. "Quick," he told the people, "get away from the tents of these wicked men, and don't touch anything that belongs to them. If you do, you will be destroyed for their sins." Now, this is the reason for the separation. So all the people stood back, all right? So the people made their choice. The people made their choice and backed up. So all the people stood back from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Then Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the entrance of their tents, together with their wives, their children, and their little ones. And Moses said, "This is how you will know that the Lord has sent me to do all these things that I have done. For I have done none of them on my own. If these men die a natural death, or if nothing unusual happens, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord does something entirely new, and the ground opens its mouth and swallows them, and all their belongings, and they go down alive to the grave, then you will know that these men have shown contempt for the Lord." He didn't say for me, for the Lord. He had hardly finished speaking the words when the ground suddenly split open beneath them. The earth opened its mouth and swallowed the men along with their households and all their followers who were standing with them, and everything they owned. Now notice, their households, their families, and all their followers, people that had not made the decision to separate. So they went down alive, and you need to get a hold of this, folks. When God judges rebels, the loyalistas also faced the same penalties. So they went down alive to the grave along with all their belongings. The earth closed over them, and they all vanished from among the people of Israel. All the people around them fled when they heard the screams. "The earth will swallow us too," they cried. Then fire blazed forth from the Lord and burned up the 250 men who were offering incense. And the Lord said to Moses, "Tell Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, to pull all the incense burners from the fire, for they are holy. Also tell him to scatter the burning coals. Take the incense burners of these men who have sinned at the cost of their lives." Wow. "And hammer the metal into a thin sheet to overlay the altar. Since these burners were used in the Lord's presence, they have become holy. Let them serve as a warning to all the people of Israel." You know, sometimes God leaves things around when rebellion is finished, God leaves a few things around to remind people the consequences of rebellion. So Eleazar the priest collected the 250 bronze incense burners that had been used by the men who died in the fire, and the bronze was hammered into a thin sheet to overlay the altar. This would warn the Israelites that no unauthorized person, no one who is not a descendant of Aaron, should ever enter the Lord's presence to burn incense. If anyone did, the same thing would happen to them as it happened to Korah and his followers. So the Lord's instructions to Moses were carried out. But the very next morning, the whole community of Israel began muttering against Moses and Aaron, saying, "You have killed the Lord's people." As the community gathered to protest against Moses and Aaron, they turned toward the tabernacle and saw that the cloud had covered it, and the glorious presence of the Lord appeared. Moses and Aaron came and stood before the tabernacle. And the Lord said to Moses, "Get away from all these people, so that I can instantly destroy them." But Moses and Aaron fell face down on the ground. And Moses said to Aaron, "Quick, take an incense burner and place burning coals on it from the altar. Lay incense on it and carry it out among the people to purify them and make them right with the Lord. The Lord's anger is blazing against them, and the plague has already begun." Aaron did as Moses told him and ran out among the people. But the plague had already begun to strike down the people, but Aaron burned the incense and purified the people. He stood between the dead and the living and the plague stopped. But 14,700 people died in that plague, in addition to those who had died in the affair involving Korah. Then, because the plague had stopped, Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance of the tabernacle. Beloved, the consequences of rebellion. We may not see the earth open up and swallow people today, but I've watched people's lives and businesses destroyed, and their followers, their families and businesses destroyed. At some point, I'm not one of these preachers that likes to walk around and tell everybody, be loyal, be loyal, be loyal. But I would walk around among you and say, be loyal to God. And when God has put leaders in place, don't fight the leaders that God has chosen. There's a balance in there, I understand. And I'm not one of these preachers that thinks it's all about the preachers and the people are nothing. I'm not that. I believe my role is to walk between God and His people and point the people to God. I don't believe that my role is to lord it over people. So please don't misunderstand me. But beloved, I've watched rebellion in my life. And I've watched how many people are hurt by it. Beloved, please, never let people get you all consumed about things. Always follow what God is doing. Lord, I lift to you your people today. There's so much in this world, and there's so much politics in church today. Father, I come in Jesus' name, and I ask that you give all of your people a discernment of the true leadership, and no rebellion within their hearts, Lord. Because, Lord, they're going to follow us as we follow you. We have no desire to make them follow us, only to point them to you. Give your people discernment to recognize true leadership. In Jesus' name. Good night. God bless you. We'll see you again tomorrow night.
Thank you for joining us today on the 1 Timothy 4:13 project with the undershepherds of the Cathedral of Praise Philippines, Pastor David E. Sumrall and Sister Beverley Sumrall, with Pastora Alisha Sumrall-Lozano. Catch their podcasts on all leading podcast platforms and listen through DZBR 531 or tune in online at www.bible.radio. The Cathedral of Praise is a church fully committed to Jesus Christ and His Word. Our main campus is located at 350 Taft Avenue, Metro Manila, Philippines. For a full list of COP campus locations and service schedules, visit us at cathedralofpraisemanila.com.ph. Tune in again tomorrow for another inspiring reading from the Old Testament and Proverbs.